Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Publius' Thoughts. Today, we're going to be talking about the economy and city skylines 2. And this is episode 9 of the Developer's Insight. I'm not going to do a video on the first part because it's only 3 minutes. This one is almost 10 minutes long, and there's so much to unpack in this one. So I'm going to be stopping and starting, and stuff like that. There's just so much in this. I mean, I can make almost 2-3 videos, but I'm just not going to do that. So let's go, everybody.
Let's get down to business and talk some economy.
God, I love these shots. You know, whoever makes their videos for these and stuff, dude, they know how to really entice you, because this is a really good image.
The economy in Cities Skylines 2 has been remade from the ground up. We have strived for more realism in the simulation of households as well as businesses in the city. We wanted to create a system that is complex, but it's not complicated.
God, look at that. Look at that image. That is just phenomenal.
The economy system also is designed to balance itself out so that it helps new players as well as newly found cities. The government subsidies help.
Look at this interface here. So you've got milestones like we have talked before. You got loan limits, you got map tiles, city budgets, city stats, medium income housing, density, roads, all that. We've gone through this before too as well.
New players in the early hours of the game by help.
So you can have government subsidies, service trade. I'm not really sure what that is exactly, but the government subsidies, government automatically grant the city subsidies depending on the economic situation. I think you can actually lend yourself money within the game and stuff like that to get going.
Helping the economy of the city. The government subsidies will cease eventually when your city becomes self-sufficient. Experienced.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is and stuff like that. So you can borrow money and stuff like that until your city becomes efficient enough to sustain itself, which that totally makes sense and all that.
Players will reach this point.
You had these also in Cities Skylines 1.
Earlier in the game, as they can optimize their city to their liking. The households receive government subsidies in the.
So you've got government subsidies and stuff like that, wealth, poor, whatever that might be for certain demographics within that of your city. I kind of like that function. That's kind of cool because you didn't have that function in City Skylines 1 at all. And stuff. To be honest, the economy in City Skylines 1 was so clunky and not very realistic.
Form of unemployment benefits as well as financial aid.
Isn't that a great image? Oh my God, dude.
The idea is that there are many moving parts.
There's a lot
parts in the economy, and this.
I mean, look at this: food, furniture, grain, paper, timber, vegetables, vehicles, electronic metals.
Creates variation in how the businesses as well as the citizens react.
A lot of this stuff was in City Skylines 1, but this is just kind of like an updated GUI a little bit, I guess,
Things. We wanted to give it great depth so that it serves the game now and in the future. The house.
So you've got a lot of different stuff here. You got map legend here, residential building, residential signature buildings, what's residential suitability, bad, good, pollution, stuff like that.
Households comprise children, teens, adults, and seniors, and each of these age groups has their own preferences when it comes to spending money and resources that they want to buy. When households look for suitable places to live, they look for a place where they can get resources, aka shop.
So he's talking about the fact that within your city and stuff, it will be important to have services and retail, grocery, stuff like that in order for your citizens to prosper and live comfortably or otherwise and all that. All those things will come into play and all that. And that's pretty much what he's talking about here.
places. They also value the proximity of jobs.
So this is pretty cool, actually, too. He also is talking about how close these people can get to their jobs and stuff, not necessarily using a vehicle, but they might be using just walking or public transportation or whatever that might be exactly.
As well as schools. For example, if you have a family with children, they prefer to live close to an elementary school if possible.
That was a feature within City Skylines 1 too as well, because you could plop down services and stuff, and it would like make the area more appealing and stuff to your residents and stuff like that. That's nothing new. They probably update a little bit, probably a little bit more realistic and all that. I don't know. We don't know really how that's going to work exactly. I'm sure it's going to be something similar, but who knows? But this is nothing real big, to be honest.
Different families also require different amount of space. If you have single households, they can live comfortably in low rent housing or in one of those tall apartment towers. But if you have family with children, they prefer the larger spaces like detached houses or apartment buildings. If the citizens can't find a suitable place to live because they're poor and cannot leave the city, they can become homeless. And
This is interesting function. The realism within that of the game. And stuff like that. So you've got residents that'll start populating parks for living in, just like we see like in liberal run cities within the US. Because you got massive homelessness and druggies and everything else. So will these parks turn into drug dens and all that too as well, I wonder?
and sometimes you can see homeless people residing in parks in your city. In the case of industries and the businesses overall in your city, the industrial companies take resources and then turn them into other types of goods that they then ship.
So he's talking about the fact that we talked about this earlier in other videos, that whatever you produce in your city and stuff like that will be utilized to a supply chain within that of your city in order to allow your citizens to prosper, just like in real life and stuff like that. If you don't have the right materials or the right industries, they'll import them from other cities and stuff, in which makes cost to you as well.
To companies that sell them to their end users. This usually means the citizens in your city. Some of the goods are also transported outside of the city into the outside connections. The industry.
You know what? I like this idea about the fact that whatever you don't use in raw materials or other materials and stuff, you can export. But the biggest thing that I saw and felt within that of City Skylines 1 was there wasn't enough capacity and stuff, and you had to build unnecessary buildings just to have more supply in order to, you know what I'm saying? And I know in this game they're trying to allow you to add on things and all that, and I'm just kind of like, I hope that's there, you know what I'm saying? And all that. I think that it's a very important thing to have that, because you don't want a shitload of freaking buildings and all that, you know. So let's keep going. Let's keep going here. So we're gonna keep going here.
Industrial companies want to be close to where they get their resources, but they also want to be close to the places that they then send the goods that they are producing. The smoother the transition from getting the resources and producing them and then shipping them to other companies and end users, the better the profit margin for.
You know, he makes a good point and stuff. The other problem that I always felt that for some reason, and maybe this is just me, but I always had a problem with placing things in certain areas, and I didn't want to keep on building and building and building and stuff. And so I hope that, like I said earlier, that I hope you can expand the capacity of things and all that in a natural way of building onto or something like that, instead of adding another building and building. It just is ridiculous, in my opinion. So
for the companies will be. The economic situation of the city also
I really like this image. Look at this and all that. That is so cool, though. I really like that new where you can really define your areas. I love that feature.
affects how the companies function in your city. If the economic situation is good, the companies will increase their production, and this also means that they can hire more workers. If the economic situation becomes bad, the companies will reevaluate their production, and this means that they will scale it down. And
That's a good feature. So if there's less production and people to run things, you'll get lesser capacity and production. I like that because that was very flawed in within City Skylines 1 and all that. Sometimes you couldn't attract enough people to these industries and stuff, and um, they would run at lower capacities, but I didn't think that it affected your overall city, but I don't know. Let's keep listening here.
lay off unnecessary workers. That would be great, but why can't I say it like you just said it? That's beautiful take. Is it? Is it? Okay.
This guy is so animated. This developer guy, I like that a lot.
Great. In the case of commercial companies, while they also want to be close to the place where they get their products, the more important aspect of their existence is to be close to the customers themselves. So, a lot of commercial companies benefit from the proximity of residential areas. And it is always the
So just like in real life, you want to have retail spaces close enough to your your residential areas and all that stuff. That makes totally sense. That was in City Skylines 1 as well. So
people who buy the stuff that keep these companies afloat. The customers are important for the commercial companies because they are the ones who choose
what a great image. Look at that image. Not a great image. And that car just came around the corner, man.
what to buy and where. So if the commercial companies are located far away from the potential customers, they're less likely to get that foot traffic into their shop. And I guess it's also a little bit
It's such a great look at this. Look at this. It looks like a bustling retail spaces and all that.
about the efficiency, like how good are they at selling. Industrial companies, their thing is that the workers, their like effort is turned into production, and the more efficient is, the higher the production is. And in the case of commercial companies, the workers are turned into like service, and the better they are, the more they can service, which means that more people can be in the shop, and it means that more people buy the products, which then means that the product is probably going to be cheaper, just like in real life when you have large stores that can sell for cheaper than small corner stores. And that was that. Can we use that? The office companies are a form of industrial companies. Offices use electronics to make software, and they can then send this software to other office companies who turn it into media, banking, and telecom.
I like that and stuff. Just another supply chain uh, enhancement and resources of what your economy will create and all that. I really, really like that.
We've also wanted to update the companies in City Skylines too. And one of those updates was that we wanted to have a more realistic number of workers in each company. So now you can have office towers with, well, hundreds.
Okay, so you can have all these different people. But that says 138. Is that a topping out at 138? Well, that's only level 3 though. So maybe it tops out even more, maybe. Because you would think that a building like this, for example, would probably have, oh, I don't know, 15,000 people in it, maybe? No, probably not. Maybe 1,500, not 15,000. But you know what I mean, though.
Hundreds of workers. In cities,
Look at this, though. I wonder if these areas are it looks like these are uh, preformed and stuff like that. Like you can like create your own areas like before in the other videos and all that. I think we did, huh? Right?
Skylines 1, we had industrial specializations that you could zone in, just like the normal industries. But in City Skylines 2, the specialized industry areas include farming, where you have livestock, cotton farming, vegetable farming.
You know what? I really like the farming and stuff because look at this. Okay, so you got a main spread here, and then you've got, it looks like wheat and stuff, and then you've got all these little, I don't know, farms or whatever, or resource buildings and stuff that are a part of it and all that. That looks like that's going to be like, they'll pop up automatically. You don't have to deal with having to create them or otherwise.
Farming and grain farming. Then we have stone, ore, and mineral mining, as well as oil drilling and forestry.
I like this. So you've got farming, you've got wheat, you've got carrots, you've got cotton, wood. I assume that's rock or steel and stuff and all that. I love all this and stuff because it's more spelled out and all that. You got to have a supply chain and all these different industries.
And now you have specialized industry areas that you create by first placing the hub building on the map and then creating an area where that hub building operates.
You know, I really love this tool. I cannot wait because, you know, this was the biggest problem I had in City Skylines 1 and all that. You could not make a really good area to encompass all these natural resources of raw oil or whatever it might be.
So if you have an oil field in your city, you can just create an area over the oil field and you'll soon see different types of oil manufacturing.
And look at this. This is what he's talking about. So when you build up all this area that you make up and stuff, this main hub will start sending out things to start building up that whole area, which is cool because in City Skylines 1, you would have to actually build them and you'd have to put stupid roads next to them, which made no sense.
Buildings appear in that area.
That's cool though. I like that.
I personally really like the livestock option of farming because you can see all the animals walking in the area. Unlike
I like that too. I like the farming and the livestock and all that.
the regular industry in your city, the specialized industry areas can't go bankrupt. They will instead just adjust their production according to the situation in your city. If there's a surplus for any goods in your city, the companies will export them to outside connections. The more goods that they export to outside connections, the less profit they will make because their transportation costs will increase over time.
That's interesting. But then that would adjust though, and pricing would go higher and so on and so forth and all that. But if you produce fuel in your city and all that, and the fuel is cheap, wouldn't that aspect kind of reduce that too as well? And if you have rail and stuff or water and stuff, wouldn't that also reduce the possibility of fuel costs?
There are three things that affect the transportation cost and potential profit when transporting goods. These are the price of the good, the weight of the good, as well as the size of the good.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective, an idea and thought too as well. That's good though. It makes it more realistic.
The loan system in City Skylines has been reworked. You can now take one loan and the loan limit increases as you reach new milestones. And you can also adjust the loan at any time in the game. You can either lend more money or pay back some or all of the loan. We've also overhauled the tax system. You can adjust the residential taxes by education level and all of the business taxes by products. If you want to
That's interesting.
incentivize certain businesses in your city, you can help them by adjusting their taxes. And if you want to really help the production of these companies, you can subsidize it by setting negative taxes. Each city service has a service budget that you can adjust, and this service budget
That's another great image.
affects the city services efficiency. Some city services also have service fees that can be adjusted, and adjusting these will affect the behavior of the citizens who use these.
That's interesting. A lot more micromanagement of your city and stuff and all that. We had that in City Skylines 1, but not so micromanaged, which and to be honest, I had a lot of hard problems managing, and maybe it's just me, but I hope that they didn't overcomplicate this, which they're saying they didn't. So we'll see.
Services. In the production tab, you can see all of the available resources in the game. You'll see how much money you have made through taxes on those products.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. Surplus, deficit. But again, my problem too is that the capacity to hold a lot of goods though. And also too, I wonder too if natural disasters or let's say fire or flooding or something like that destroys a building, you lose that stock or that surplus or that product. I imagine you would though.
As well as their deficit or surplus. On the production tab, you can also see the inputs for the different products, as well as where those products are used. And that's that. Red. Yeah, thanks for watching.
So that's it, everybody. Let me know what you think. There will not be a Sunday video because the first video for the feature highlights was pretty abysmal. There wasn't a lot in there. That's why I made this one longer. And this one is a 10-minute video, which is almost 23 minutes for me. Let me know what you think down below. I might do another video on this and stuff like that to kind of go back to what I want to see, because we're kind of like in the halfway point, because we're in August now, and I believe the game launches in October. So we're about, what, 2.5 months away, I think. So there's not, I don't know if there's a lot, but there's more coming. So take care, everybody. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share my content. It helps the channel. If you would, please subscribe. I know a lot of you are not subscribed. They're actually watching. I really, really appreciate it and stuff. I do apologize that there wasn't a lot of content this week as well, too. Please forgive me. Work was a little busy this week and stuff, and I had to do a lot of things with the family and the kid and all that stuff. So, you know, real life comes first, and you guys will always be here and stuff. And I know that the algorithm for YouTube is being consistent, but sometimes I can't always be consistent. And like I said, I'm not in this for the money. I'm just doing it to do it. So take care, everybody. I appreciate you all. Please take care of yourselves. Be safe out there, and peace out, everybody. Bye.